Hey there, how are you doing? It's Sunday, the 28th of January 2024. It's me by birth, Alex William Smith, better known to many of you as Jonathan Royle, hypnotist, magician and mind reader. And I'm here to give you some thoughts about Craig Petty's latest release that drops tomorrow, Monday the 29th of January 2024, called Evoke, E-V-O-K-E, Evoke. It's without a doubt, having watched the videos that Craig's kindly sharing on his Magic TV YouTube channel, which you would be wise to check out, he shows you exactly how the cards are marked. He shows you exactly, he talks about how they can be stacked, how you can do routines without them being stacked, so they can be genuinely shuffled. He tells you about how to use them in so many ways that the short, direct, to the point review, I've not physically seen them, I've seen them on the videos, is bottom line is buy these. If you want to be able to do magic tricks that, well, they won't be magic tricks anymore, they'll be magic experiences, emotional, magical experiences. If you want to do mind reading and mentalism, these have got great uses as well, and arguably you can use them within readings. As well, if you do fortune telling, cold reading, that kind of stuff. And indeed on the project there is training from Peter Nardi from Alakazam Magic on mentalism uses, Ian Rowland, one of the acknowledged masters of cold reading techniques, Peter Turner, need I say more, and of course Craig Petty himself, the creator of this excellent set of 26 emotion cards, 13 positive emotions, 13 negative emotions, and between those 26 you can pretty much guarantee that the volunteer will be able to find one amongst those cards which relates to an experience in their life. Now here's the thing, I will leave the talking about how to use this as magic tricks to Craig Petty's Magic TV channel. I'll leave the talking about how to use it for mentalism and such like to the people on the project. Basically go and order it tomorrow the 29th of January onwards from all major magic dealers. You'll be glad you did. There's so much built in this, it's basically you walking around with a complete close-up, or you could use it definitely in parlour, because although it's only cards, it's about that person's reactions, their visual reactions, which will be very visual and reactive due to the fact that you will be stimulating genuine emotional memories and responses, making this something that I would say you need to be a little bit cautious about, okay? Because when you're dealing with genuine emotions, if you don't do it in the right manner, with the due care and attention, you could actually leave somebody with, an emotion enhanced or brought back to the surface that they'd managed to, they remembered it, but they'd reduce the emotional intensity, and then by going through a trick or an experience with you, you could heighten that, and if it was a negative one, that would not be a good thing. So I genuinely and sincerely, and whilst this seems like a blatant plug, and it is, I'm saying go and buy Craig Petty's Evoke, but I'm also saying invest in two things from me, yours truly. One is this book, I'll tell you why in a minute. It's called Hypnosis, helping you get over the shit in your life and get your shit together. If the lettering's reversed, because I'm doing this on selfie mode, don't worry, it's printed the right way when you get it. This is not just a book, it's full of these things, QR codes, that when you scan them will take you to online training videos. This book retails for £15 United Kingdom sterling or 17 United States dollars. It's available from Amazon and all major bookstores, and the reason I say get a copy of this, if you're going to use Evoke in your magic or mentalism or fortune telling, and you really should, because it's one of the best things I've ever seen released based on the videos I've seen on Craig Petty's Magic TV channel, is because this is the ultimate self-help book. It genuinely is, I promise you, you'll never need any other book. This will show you how to overcome your own habits, addictions, fears and phobias, how to eliminate anxiety, overcome depression, reduce, if not completely eliminate, panic attacks, and a whole bunch of other things for yourself to give yourself more confidence. you know, to overcome stage fright. Bottom line is, this will help you in so many areas of your life. But as a performer, a magician, a mentalist, a mind reader, a hypnotist maybe, a fortune teller, there's techniques in here, certainly in the first section, okay, where, just let me very quickly, there are loads of those QR code things in the first section, and the reason for that is there is access to a 6-hour training video set from an event I did in 2017 that was organised by television, Sky TV's Fat Families presenter, hypnotherapist Steve Miller. And in that event, I teach you absolutely everything that you need to know about what the placebo effect is, what the nocebo effect is, what the Hawthorne effect is, and what other psychological principles are that are used in genuine mind therapy treatment techniques. I also teach you exactly what hypnosis truly is and how it truly works. And more importantly, I talk about involving these things safely. That is why I say get this, because it will teach you things, will enable you to use Evoke. You know, I mean, the only real danger with Evoke is you might get yourself a paper cut if you're not careful, as anyone can off playing cards, but I'm sure you won't. Joking aside, though, the real potential danger, okay, and it's only a tiny percentage of the population that may be predisposed to mental illness and stuff. You need to kind of bear that in mind when you're dealing with people's emotions, okay? It's something that you need to think about in terms of, because of duty of care and health and safety laws. As an entertainer on interaction with a person, you have a legal obligation to make sure the person remains physically, psychologically and emotionally safe. Otherwise, you could potentially get sued for creating emotional damage or stuff in the same way stage hypnotists do. Because ultimately, it can be argued you're using elements of suggestion within the routine, and therefore there can be arguments, could be arguments sometimes that it could, some things, depending on what you do, if you were going to do things like Luca Volpe mentioned in the video with Craig Petty on the Magic TV channel, that went up on Saturday the 20, went up yesterday anyway, where you get them to meditate. Well, meditation, arguably, if you guide somebody through a meditation, actually it can be argued that you are using suggestion, and if it's in the context of entertainment, that means that any form of suggestion comes under the auspices, the wording of the 1952 Hypnotism Act. Now, this sounds like I'm being pedantic, but the fact is, if you are doing stuff, and in this day and age, people video stuff, you know, evidence can exist, and somebody later on goes, oh, I'm feeling bad, I'm feeling depressed, I'm having more panic attacks, or I'm having more anxiety attacks, or whatever, because I can trace it to when that person did that meditation thing with me, or guided me through that picture, or made me relive something, or whatever, whether their recollection of it is truthful or not, well, I don't mean truthful, is completely accurate or not, is kind of semi-irrelevant. If that's how it made them feel, and any existing evidence or their word against yours is such, it can lead to a lawsuit. It could lead to a lawsuit. There's been lawsuits galore against stage hypnotists worldwide over the years, most of them not even publicised in the media because it's cheaper for the insurance company often to settle out of court, which is bad. It puts your policy up, and if ever the media found out, it's really bad publicity for you. So the safe thing to do, okay, honestly, the safe thing to do is you have a duty of care in law with health and safety and duty of care laws to ensure that whatever you're doing is being done in a competent and safe manner. So if you're going to use any form of suggestion or guided meditation, then you would be wise to A, learn about what suggestion really is and how to use it positively, so that it can only help the individual, and you'll find out about that through the various videos and exercises in Hypnosis, helping you get over the shit in your life and get your shit together, available on Amazon. Secondly, I have a video set out called Psycho physio-energetic alignment of changing energies and emotions, peace, to help give your clients inner peace and peace of mind. I will put a link to that as well above or below this video, and I'm going to knock off 90% off the usual price of that, so that it costs you just a matter of $20 or $30 for a full video training set that will teach you all about play therapy. Okay, it's a genuine therapeutic approach, but using the principles and the psychology behind play therapy, connected by bringing in the Evoke emotional motivational cards that Craig Petty had released. You can blend those two together to do actual genuine therapeutic beneficial work for the clients in the right circumstance when they fully consent. Because before you help them cure their phobia or help them reduce the emotional intensity of a memory, you need to ask them first, ethically, morally and legally, okay, under duty of care and health and safety laws, and also to make sure you can never be accused of negligence, you need to ask them, do you actually want to reduce the intensity on that memory? Because although it may be a bad, a negative memory, they may want to leave it at the level it is because it serves a positive purpose of repelling them away from ever repeating the kinds of behaviours or getting into that situation that cause the negativity. So sometimes negative things have a positive purpose. Sometimes positive memories can also have negative secondary gains. These are things we deal with and talk about in the peace, psychophysio-energetic alignment of changing energies and emotions video training set, and of course in Hypnosis, helping you get over the shit in your life and get your shit together. The third thing I would genuinely and sincerely, as blatant as a plug as it sounds, again, I'm going to knock off 90% so you can get it for a fraction of the price, is to study the Transparency Template. Now, the Transparency Template is the world's most comprehensive. It's not just me. It's also one of the busiest working comedy stage hypnotists in England, Chris Lee, a hypnotherapist, Nick Davis, Robert Temple, who is filling 5-star theatres and doing the Independence of the Seas and 5-star cruise lines and whatnot. A whole bunch of us sharing techniques, including Stuart Harrison Cassell's an experienced health and safety officer who knows duty of care and health and safety laws inside out. And we cover in that set the use of, we call it hypnosis, and we teach you stage hypnosis techniques. Everything you need to know so that you can combine stage hypnotism, genuine stage hypnotism and hypnotherapy techniques with Craig Petty's Evoke emotional stimulation stuff, okay? Now, remove the word hypnosis out the window. Hypnosis exists only in the mind of the believer. What it really is suggestion. And the 1952 Hypnotism Act in England clearly states that anything intended to heighten or manipulate a person's suggestibility comes under the banner of the 1952 Hypnotism Act. So in England, at least, and this can apply in some other areas of the world because of the duty of care and health and safety considerations, but insurance policies for entertainers, for magicians, don't normally cover for hypnosis, and therefore they don't cover for suggestion, because suggestion comes under the 1952 Hypnotism Act. So if you want to be fully legal and compliant and fully insured in case anyone ever makes any claim against you, whether that claim be genuine or false, you need to ensure that you've got a policy, for example, like the ones that Blackfriars Insurance Services in Manchester, England offer, or the ones that I'm having a mental safe on stage, Clowns Insurance and various other companies in America offer. Basically, you'd be wise to have a policy that covers you for stage hypnosis as well, because then you're definitely covered for suggestion work. Okay, this is definitely relevant in England, okay? Because if you do something in your performance for which it can be argued you are breaking the law or broke the law, then by virtue you will have broken the terms of your insurance policy that says that it, and it will in all insurance policies say that you've got to be abiding by all relevant laws and regulations, including, of course, health and safety and duty of care that may be relevant to what you do. And in England, at least in England, although this argument from a health and safety perspective could happen in other areas of the world, the use of suggestion, guided meditation, or anything that could be argued in court to be hypnosis, and suggestion itself is that getting people to imagine things is arguably comes under heightening or manipulating suggestion. Then, if you'd not applied for your licence under the 1952 Hypnotism Act in England, for the performance where you were doing things that were suggestion, and somebody claimed that you'd emotionally or psychologically caused them damage or harm, your insurance would arguably be invalidated, and you could find yourself with a very costly court case. It sounds like I'm being overly cautious, but you know what? It's better to be paranoid and safe than it is to leave yourself open to potential legal action where you find that your insurance doesn't cover you. Be safe. And the benefit is that by studying the transparency template, you'll also learn the safest, ethical, legal and effective ways to actually combine hypnosis techniques with magic and mentalism, which will be immensely useful because it is easier to hijack somebody's emotional state and guide them into hypnosis when you are taking them from the current state of mind and body that they're currently in and heightening a thought from the past, because as they think and conjure up that memory and feeling from the past, they have to absorb and move inwards, which is step one on the journey to trance. What I am going to share with you, as I say, get Shitnosis, helping you get over the shit in your life and get your shit together. $17 or £15 from Amazon and all major booksellers. You'll find it useful for yourself to overcome all habits, addictions, fears and phobias from A through to Z. But you'll also find techniques in here of how you'll learn the techniques about how to use the placebo effect effectively. Guided meditation techniques, there's uses of pendulums in here, and a whole bunch of other genuine suggestion techniques that will combine wonderfully with Craig Petty's Evoke deck, because the use of emotions is key and central to it all. Secondly, the psychophysio-energetic alignment of changing energies and emotions. Video training set, check it out above or below. And thirdly, from the safety point of view, being completely legal, lawful, licensed where required, insured. There's also loopholes in the law, by the way. That means you can operate within the law, legally, lawfully, without needing to faff around getting licenses, just so long as you use the right wording on your websites, your business cards, your posters, and all adverts for the show, which means then you can literally use suggestion and hypnotic techniques anytime, any place, anywhere, without needing the licenses, and without potentially invalidating your public liability insurance and professional indemnity insurance, just so long as you abide by the health and safety and duty of care stuff, which of course is always an obligation anyway. So yeah, once again, don't forget, tomorrow 29th of January, Craig Petty's Evoke, emotional and motivational, mentalism, magic, call it what you will, miracle, complete show in a box in your pocket deck goes on sale, and I cannot recommend it enough. Get it. The potential is through the roof, especially when you take the time to study the therapeutic psychology and the true psychology of suggestion and hypnosis, which you'll not find anything better than the resources that are linked to above or below this. The piece set is a bit out there, it's play therapy, but this will tie in wonderfully with the Evoke emotional cards. And I'm going to leave you with one actual technique I'm going to share with you, okay? Now, in therapy, they have a technique called SUDS, Subjective Units of Distress Scale. This can be used to gauge where a negative emotion, thought, feeling or memory currently is, and then after you've done your therapeutic process with them, to find out how much lower it's become, okay? So how it's improved, how that problem's reduced. It can also be used to find out where a positive feeling, thought, memory or emotion currently is that helps empower the individual, and then do your therapeutic work or process with them, and then afterwards find out how that's positively increased and risen and got stronger and more positive for the individual. Now, the way that therapists would normally do this, I'll give you an example. Let's say that somebody, you know that the person's taken the anxiety card from Craig Petty's Evoke deck. Go on Craig Petty's Magic TV channel and you can see the cards on the various videos with the Evoke deck. But let's say they've taken the anxiety card. You know this because you've either looked at the stack in your hand and you've seen the marking that tells you what they've got in hand, or you've looked at the marking that's on the card they've got. There's numerous ways of doing it. But the point is, you know they've got the anxiety card. You can do the reveal. That in itself is going to get an emotional response. But then, while they are in that wow moment of how the heck did how did you climb in my mind and get anxiety as the thing that I was reliving, because you've asked them to, or not relive it, but imagine it. What you're far better off doing with negative emotions is don't tell them to relive it. Don't use phraseology like that. Tell them you'd like to imagine it almost as if, which is in itself a suggestion that it's not completely real. They're slightly detached, slightly disassociated. It's almost as if you can view it on a television screen, so you can remember that, but the emotional intensity has already been reduced. Okay? That's when we're dealing with negative emotions, which you already know before you start talking to them to tell them to imagine it. So duty of care wise, you know that they've got a negative emotion. When you know it's a negative emotion, you can talk in terms of visualize it on a television screen, almost as if you're slightly detached from that and you're seeing a memory of it as it once was in the past. Now, thinking about it as it once was in the past, on a scale of 0 to 10, 0 down here being no problem whatsoever, and up here being 10, the worst it ever was in the past, like pulling out your hair, blah, 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 where up that scale was that anxiety? This bit being done after you've revealed the fact it's anxiety. So to recap, you know from the marking, the card they've got's anxiety. Okay, you want to do them on a guided meditation, so from a health and safety point of view, you know it's anxiety, you know it's a negative emotion, therefore, so you can say, imagine it on a television screen, almost as if you're slightly detached from that, but you can just get a sense of a feeling of how that situation, whatever it may be, affected you and made you feel in the past. Okay, conjure up that image in your mind. And by so doing, without saying that you know it's anxiety at that point, you've not given anything away, but you've phrased it in such a manner that they will visualize it in a manner where they're ever so slightly disassociated, and thus are not likely to amplify negatively any deep-rooted trauma or anything like that. These are things I haven't got time to go into here, but I do in the various resources that I mentioned above or below. If you know that the item they've got is one of the 13 positive emotions in the Evoke deck, then, because you know this because of various marking systems, again, see Craig Petty's Magic TV channel, then what you can phrase it in, knowing that, without giving anything away, you can say, I'd like you to, whatever that emotion is, I'd like you to see it on a TV screen, okay? Except this is like a 3D television screen or a big 3D cinema screen. So look, you can step into that. So step into that now. And I want you to feel whatever that emotion was in the way you felt it then. Now, you know you can do this safely because you know it's a positive emotion. You wouldn't do that with a negative one because you don't want them to physically have any trauma based on a genuine experience that took place in their life. But if it's a positive emotion, you know that all you're going to be doing is empowering them and making them feel good. So you can therefore phrase it slightly differently. These are considerations that are genuinely doing it the wrong way around, okay? So getting them to be absorbed with a negative one, no, that can genuinely lead to mental illness, and making panic attacks, stress, anxiety, depression worse if the person has a predisposition to it, or causing that to be the seed of something that ends up manifesting as an issue in the future. So we avoid that and we use the disassociation approach that I've just mentioned. When it's something a positive emotion, you can absorb them into it because you know it's something positive that therefore can only be positive and beneficial for them. I go into more depth about these things in the psychophysio-energetic alignment of changing energy and emotions package, the transparency template package, and of course, if nothing else, this starting point for just £15 or $17 will also help you and help yourself, as well as helping the people. So that's what you do when you know what it is in terms of the routining, and then of course you reveal it. Now, if when you've revealed it, in that moment, whether it's a negative emotion or a positive emotion, in that moment they're going to be wow. They're going to have a slight sensory overload. In other words, the critical faculty, the analytical area, or the executive function as it's called by psychologists, it's like the partition metaphorically between your conscious mind and your unconscious, subconscious mind, the personal desktop computer, will be stunned. And the nightclub doorman of the mind, as I call it, the critical faculty, is going to go, bollocks to this, I can't stand this, and fuck off for a coffee break for a few minutes. Which means you've got, well, not a few minutes, but certainly 30 to 60 seconds. And in that moment, if you give people suggestions, they will not be resisted. They will go directly into their unconscious, subconscious mind. That moment where their eyes apparently glaze over and they go, wow, that's the moment when you go, sleep, and gently tap them on the shoulder or whatever, using the techniques taught in the transparency template. And when you know what you're doing and do it in a safe, legal manner, then that's the moment you can get them into genuine hypnosis. But you don't need to put them into that eyes closed state. No, they are arguably already in a heightened state of suggestion in that moment because there is no resistance. So what you can do is genuine life-changing work in that moment, thanks to the genius of Craig Petty's Evoke deck. So I'll give you an example. It's a negative emotion. You've had them in a disassociated manner, like the example I've given. Watch the video again. Conjure up things. You do your cold reading techniques to apparently climb inside their mind and tell them all about the picture. Then you reveal the feeling. Boo, the card shown. Yes, it's correct. Applause. Stunned sensory overload moment. And then you very quickly, just a minute. Okay. John, let's imagine there's the name. John, you had the anxiety card, okay? Just close your eyes a moment and just take a few moments to get a sense of a feeling of how bad that was in the past. In the past is already disassociation, because we're saying it isn't right now. In the past, when it once used to bother you the worst, okay? Now open your eyes. Now on a scale of 0 down here being nothing, no issue whatsoever, and up here being 10, number 10, the worst it's ever been, like pulling out your hair, really bad, the worst it ever was. Where up that scale would you rate the number right now? And they will, because it's in the moment, usually give you a 8, 9, 10, maybe even make the joke of, well, it's 12 or 13 when it was its worst. Whatever number they give you, it doesn't matter. Even if they give you just a 6, it doesn't matter. The point is you've got a number, and this is what they're saying it currently is, really bad, connected to that negative emotion. You then say to them, hey, would you like, because you need to get informed consent to be covered from a duty of care, health and safety, and to avoid any, non-consent claims. Would you like it so that it never bothers you, worries you or concerns you to the same negative intensity as it has done in the past, when it used to be a 10 or when it used to be an 8? When it used to be, implying it's no longer like that anymore. We're already embedding suggestions into our work. And when they say, yeah, that'd be good, you go, okay. As daft as this is going to sound, we're going to do a quick little exercise together, okay? Yeah? Great. What I want you to do, take your 2 fingers here and tap this is what they call the sort of psychic third eye. You don't need to believe in this, but bizarrely it just helps reprogram your personal desktop computer anyway. There's the psychic third eye. Just tap it 3 times. 1, 2, 3. And then we've got the base chakra energy point. This is just below your belly button. So tap that 1, 2, 3 times. And then your left shoulder 1, 2, 3 times. Your right shoulder 1, 2, 3 times. And your top lip 1, 2, 3 times. Now hum happy birthday. And do it 2 more times. So with me, I'll do it with you so you don't feel daft. 1, 2, 3 there. Base chakra point. 1, 2, 3. Left shoulder. 1, 2, 3. Right shoulder. 1, 2, 3. Top lip. 1, 2, 3. And happy birthday. And one more time. Psychic third eye 3 times. Base chakra 3 times. Left shoulder 3 times. Right shoulder 3 times. Top lip 3 times. Happy birthday. And you do that 3 times. And you do it with them so they don't feel daft. And people find this fascinating because they realise that you are actually doing something here. And you will see that the individual whose facial expressions before were shock, and then when you were asking them to rate the intensity of the emotion will have visually changed. You will now see them kind of, it's like a weight's being lifted off the shoulder. You'll see a genuine physiological change taking place in them. And then once you've done it the 3rd time and they've hummed happy birthday, say, take a nice deep breath in through your nose, hold it, and then allow it out through your mouth. Now just close your eyes and just try to get a sense of a feeling of how it once was in the past when it used to bother you, when it used to be a number 8, a number 10, or whatever number they said. Okay, take a few moments to try and get that. Now open your eyes. And honestly and truthfully, genuinely, okay, remembering as before that up here was 10, the worst it ever was in the past, when it was like pulling your hair out really bad and you said it was an 8 or a 10 and you repeat the number they said. And down here is nothing. Gone completely, no problem whatsoever. Where down that scale right now was the number dropped to? And in this moment, either A, they will turn around and say that the number's in the same place, in which case you can either say, okay, well, today's not the time to deal with this, obviously. Or you can use a different process, and there's tons of different processes taught in Hypnosis and in the piece set, genuine therapeutic processes that would genuinely help them. Or as more likely happens is it drops. It can be a dramatic drop in numbers, or it could just be it drops 1 point from an 8 to a 7 or a 10 to a 9, in which case you say to them, wow, that's fantastic already in a few seconds. What bothered you in the past at a level 8 is now a level 7 or whatever. Would you like to reduce that even more? And when they say yes, then you can use a different important seeming ritualistic process, many of them in the piece set above or below and in Hypnosis. And then using this SUDS technique, which I'll reveal the clever bit to in a minute, you make sure that the number goes down again. So that when you leave them, you go, wow, when we started a minute or 2 ago, you know, you had an emotional intensity of 12 or 10 or 8 or whatever they started off with. And now it's gone down to a 4 or a 3. Sometimes it'll end up at nothing. But the point is, as long as there's a reduction, you can say to them, you know what? It will never rise above that again. It can never return to how bad it once was in the past. It can only continue to naturally reduce in intensity so that every day and everywhere you feel better and better. And because they're in that heightened suggestion state, I genuinely tell you, can I use this with therapy clients for well over 3 decades now? I started treating therapy clients in 1989. I've taught thousands of people around the world to use these techniques, and I'm telling you, they are more powerful than you can possibly imagine. Now, the other alternative is that they had a positive emotion, and at the end, yes, they'll still have that stunned state of mind, but this could be something you want to intensify even higher. So you would, with the positive emotion, you do it slightly differently and you go, hey, you know what, John? Just close your eyes a second and get a sense of a feeling, of how positive that was right then in that moment when you experienced confidence or whenever. And so get a feeling of that confidence. Yeah. Open your eyes. And in that moment then, bearing in mind that 0 is like no confidence, in fact, feeling really shy, negative, worthless down here. But that up here, level 10, is feeling on top of the world, invincible, fantastic, like an inner warm glow of confidence inside, growing stronger all the time. Where was that number? How high up the scale was it? And they'll give you a number. Now, it may be that it's 10, it's fantastic, in which case we're just going to do work to cement that in and make them feel that in the moment and moving forward with their life. Or it could be that they go, well, it was a 6 or a 7, and you can turn around and go, cool. But you felt really good, didn't you? And you get them to say, yes. Brilliant. So wouldn't it be fantastic if every day in every way you had that automatic same level, in fact higher than that, levels of confidence to draw upon as an automatic reflex action whenever you need to? And they'll go, yeah. In which case you go, here's the thing then, okay? Close your eyes, take a nice deep breath in through your nose, and then out through your mouth. In through your nose, and out through your mouth. I'd like you to imagine in your mind's eye a thermometer, okay? It's a strange thermometer. It's a bit like a memory stick. Rather than having the degrees centigrade or Fahrenheit up it, what it has is the numbers 0 at the bottom, then 10, then 20, then 30, then 40, then 50, then 60, then 70, then 80, then 90, then 100%. And at the moment, the mercury in that magical thermometer in your mind's eye, it's almost as if it's currently at, because you said the number, for example, 7 on the 0 to 10 scale before. So it's currently at 70%. But in order that you can achieve everything you ever want to do in life with the greatest of ease, far easier than you ever thought possible, what you need to do is get that to 100%. So it's there in your personal desktop computer, all times of the night and day, running as an automatic positive program to help you with every breath you take, every noise you hear, every word I say, and every thought you think. So with that in mind, I'd like you to imagine in a way that feels right for you. And it doesn't matter how ridiculous it may seem, whether you use a blowtorch, a bonfire, a big candle, it doesn't matter how ridiculous it is, but I want you to heat up the mercury in that magical thermometer in your mind's eye so that you start to see the thermometer, the mercury in the thermometer starting to rise. And as it starts to rise from 70% to 75%, notice that in every nerve, fibre, tissue and muscle in your body, from the tips of your toes to the tips of your fingers, it's almost as if you're being revitalised, re-energised, as though somebody has pressed the factory reset button to help you rapidly increase your confidence to levels that will help you equal the greatest achievements of life's greatest achievers, so you can feel fantastic about yourself in every situation. And notice in your mind's eye now it's rising positively to 80%, 85 and 90. And I want you to keep allowing that to rise up in your mind's eye, and just tell me when in your mind's eye you can see that at 100%. And you keep going to encourage them along, but then go quiet for a bit and hopefully they'll say it's at 100. If not, after about 10, 20 seconds, which is a lot longer than it may seem, you go, are we nearly there yet? Where are you at? And they might say 80, 85. But then you can go, okay, now it's at 90. See it at 90. Is it at 90? And you get it as high as you can. And you say, now I want you to imagine in a way that feels right for you, however ridiculous it may seem. Gluing, locking, welding, cementing, maybe staple gunning, blowtorching, nailing in place. It doesn't matter how ridiculous a visualization it is. In fact, the crazier the better, which is actually true. The crazier a visualization is, the more emotional impact and psychological impact it has on somebody. So with that in mind, lock it, glue it, weld it, cement it, blowtorch it, or nail it in place, whatever feels right for you, so that from this moment forward, you know positively that it can never drop below 100%, so that you know sincerely and genuinely in every nerve, fibre, tissue and muscle in your body, from the tips of your toes to the tips of your fingers, that positive emotion of confidence, or whatever it was, it's there running as a positive program in your personal desktop computer, meaning that every morning when you awaken from this moment forward, you'll awaken with an inner warm glow of confidence, a renewed optimism to life, a more positive attitude to get things done. Just nod your head if you understand. They nod their head. You've done that, yes. You get them to say yes. Then you say, okay, now take a nice deep breath in, then out, and just open your eyes. They open their eyes and you say, fantastic, John. So before, remembering that 0 down here is nothing, feeling like shit, the worst you could possibly feel in life, and that before your confidence levels were at 6, 7, 8, whatever it is they said, where up that scale right now is the number gone? And they should say a number higher. And then you go, that's fantastic. If for some reason they say it's the same number, then you have to go through another important seeming ritualistic process. They're in hypnosis, peace set, so that you definitely leave them with it at a higher number. At the very least, you leave them with the same. That'd be the worst case scenario, and you go, you know what, for some reason there's some kind of blockage today, meaning that it isn't ready to move up any higher. Not sure why. Perhaps it'd be a good idea to go and see a hypnotherapist if you ever want to increase your confidence level. But you know what, to be honest, Eight's really good and you feel fantastic, don't you? And they go, yes. You feel fantastic, don't you? They go, yes. So you're embedding, locking it positively there, but 99.9% of the time recurring, you will have increased it in a positive manner. Now, you can watch this video back, so I don't have to repeat myself, but you'll see there is a distinct difference between how we deal with the negative emotions to reduce them as there is from the positive emotions to increase them. And it's down to the SUDS. SUDS is, as well as the phraseology, with the negative always talks in a manner where it's disassociating it, whereas with the positive, it's empowering it and connecting them to it. But the SUDS thing, with the negative things, we start off by going down here 0, okay? Nothing, no issue. And up here is 10, the worst it ever has been. Like pulling your hair out, really, really bad. Where on this scale is that number as you think about that memory right now? And by doing this action, watch it again, I'm pointing above the number 10. I'm non-verbally saying, give me a high number. Then we do the important seeming ritualistic process. And afterwards I go, okay, so remembering that up here is 10, the worst it's ever been in the past when it used to bother you, implying it doesn't anymore. Down here, 0, 0, nothing, no issue, gone completely. Where down that scale now has that number dropped to? So all the visual things are non-verbally getting them to go down. When it's a positive emotion that we start off with, that we know because we've read the marking or whatever, or we've done the reveal, we go, hey, down here is 0. No confidence or no whatever positive emotion is. Feeling really bad about yourself. Whereas up here is 10. The top of the tree. Total confidence, feeling invincible and fantastic. Okay? So at the moment, where on the scale is the number? Okay? So they'll give a number, hopefully less than 10, because we're doing it the other way around. We're wanting them to give us a lower number to start off with. So then we can do the important seeming ritualistic process and at the end go, wow, fantastic. Remembering that 0 down here is the worst it could ever have been in the past, feeling really bad about yourself. But we're not there. Before you said you were kind of a 6 or a 7 or whatever number they said. And remember that up here is 10, the maximum it could ever be, but we point above it. Feeling fantastic, invincible and positive in every possible way. Where's that number now? And non-verbally we're saying give us a higher number. The moment they verbally say a higher number, especially in front of witnesses, they're consciously saying to themselves that something has changed. When they consciously say something's changed, when they're in that heightened emotional suggestive state, which arguably is eyes open hypnosis, then they will reprogram their personal laptop computer into genuinely believing that that change has taken place, which with the negative example means that the intensity and the effect it had on them will have been genuinely reduced, and in a positive sense it will have been genuinely increased for positive actions on them. You can learn a lot more about this for use on yourself and how to adapt it to other people in Hypnosis, helping you get over the shit in your life and get your shit together. £15 or $17 from Amazon with QR codes galore to training videos. The play therapy side of things you can learn about in psychophysio-energetic alignment of changing energies and emotions, the P set, currently on special offer at the links above or below. And to be legal, lawful, licensed, safe and everything, and also combine hypnotic suggestion effectively for entertainment with magic and mentalism, check out the transparency template above or below. Yes, they're blatant plugs, but nobody sells anything that comes even remotely close to them. And indeed, you know what? I'm going to give you 90% off for a limited time. 90% off? 80 or 90% off, I'm not sure. I'll sort it out after at the link above or below to my Royal Hypnotist Live in Blackpool set, which was filmed in February 2023, just before the Blackpool Magic Convention, where I teach you hypno tricks, things that are guaranteed to work all of the time with anyone because they've got physiological trickery behind them, or use magic or mentalism principles. And many of these could, with a little bit of thought, and the examples I give on the videos, be combined with Craig Petty's Evoke emotional, motivational mentalism cards to give you a big feature stage performance in your pocket, because you can use volunteers and use the emotional cards so that if they've got one that's like, you know, let's say you forced an actual emotion on them. So you get them to imagine it, you do the reveal, it's depression, you go, the weird thing is that depression, some people feel that makes them feel stuck, and you notice now you can't move. Try and move your legs, and they find that they can't move from the spot. That's all explained, how to do things like that in the Royal Hypnotist Live in Blackpool. So in a nutshell, I'm excited for this set. Go and get yourself tomorrow, 29th of January, Craig Petty's Evoke. Watch this video back and you'll see the use of wording. I've just scraped the surface there, but I cover it in far more depth in Hypnosis, helping you get over the shit in your life, in the peace set, transparency template, and Royal Hypnotist Live in Blackpool. Bye for now.